So when you hear the name Taylor Swift, you probably think about music, sold-out stadiums, maybe even economics. But what about international law? Yeah, I know, it sounds like a stretch, but stick with me. As we're about to see, the connection is not only real, it's also a powerful look at how community and influence can actually create change in the world.
Okay, so let's just get right into it. What on earth could a global pop superstar possibly share with the complex, kind of formal world of treaties and global governance? Well, it turns out the answer is surprisingly deep.
Because we're not just talking about some vague celebrity influence here. We're talking about a real, measurable force, one that doesn't just reflect some of the core ideas of international law, but might actually have the power to shape them.
First things first, let's get on the same page. The Taylor Swift effect. You've probably heard that term thrown around, usually talking about money. But as the Georgetown Law source material for this explainer points out, it's so much bigger than that. It's about a huge network that amplifies her cultural pull and, importantly, creates a ready-made structure for people to act together.
And when we say massive, we mean it. I mean, just try to wrap your head around this. The economic activity from the Eras Tour alone, we're talking tickets, flights, hotels, everything, is bigger than the entire gross domestic product of a lot of countries. That's not just influence, that's a global economic phenomenon.
But here's the thing. As wild as those numbers are, the money isn't even the most important part of the story. The real power, the true effect, is the community that's been built around it all. It's about that shared energy and how it can be mobilized. And this right here is where we start talking less about economics and more about law. This leads us straight to a really cool concept in international law called the solidarity principle. Basically, it's the idea that we're all in this together, that communities and even whole countries have a shared duty to work for social justice and fairness. Kind of sounds familiar, right?
And this isn't just some abstract theory. Here's a quote from a real-world example. The author of the piece we're drawing from was in Vienna when a concert was canceled because of a threat. And she saw the fans come together, not just in disappointment, but with this shared spirit of support and care. It was the solidarity principle, happening live, right there on the street.
So much of that shared feeling comes directly from the music itself. I mean, take this line from The Man. It's a lyric that just hits home for so many people who felt held back because of their gender. And it acts as this perfect bridge into the world of human rights law. That feeling in the song, it's the exact issue that major international treaties like CEDAW are built to solve. Think of it as a global Bill of Rights for women. But here's the catch. It's a treaty that a lot of countries have issues with, and some, including the United States, still haven't officially ratified it. The Taylor Swift effect shows the kind of collective energy that could actually push for change on something like that.
Now, her advocacy has been really clear in a few key areas. You've got The Man for women's rights, and You Need to Calm Down is obviously a huge anthem for LGBTQ+ rights. The source does point out, though, that issues of race and religion haven't been as central in her music, which highlights a potential area for that massive platform to grow.
Okay, you're gonna love this. This is where it gets really, really interesting. The link to international law isn't just in the big ideas. It's literally woven into the fabric of her merchandise. We're talking about taxes.
We all know the song, we all know the cardigan has become this huge symbol for fans. But believe it or not, that cozy sweater reveals a major flaw, a real inequity that's baked right into international trade law. Get this, under US law, if you buy a fancy cardigan made of something like cashmere, the import tax, the tariff is 4%, but a cardigan made from a synthetic material like acrylic, which is what most fan merch is made of, gets hit with the 32% tax.
32%. Let that sink in. This is a perfect example of what's called a regressive tax. It means everyday items bought by regular people are taxed at a rate 8 times higher than luxury goods. It's this hidden tax that hits women and lower-income fans the hardest.
And this cardigan tax is not a one-off thing. Nope. It's part of a bigger system people call pink tariffs. These are hidden taxes on products marketed to women that, according to the source, cost women about $2.5 billion extra every single year.
So what happens when you take a massive economic force, combine it with a super engaged global community, and then make that community aware of these hidden injustices? Well, you get the potential to make a real dent in some of the world's biggest problems.
And this isn't just a hypothetical. It's already happening. We saw her influence literally drive voter registration through the roof. Her fans are organizing around climate action, speaking out on human rights and global conflicts, and fighting for reproductive freedom. This is the Taylor Swift effect growing up and turning into a real-world movement.
So, like she wrote in Mastermind, strategy is key. So what's the game plan here? How do you take all this energy and turn it into a clear path forward?
The source material actually lays out a three-part legal framework. First, solidarity, using that collective power for everyone's benefit. Second, subsidiarity. That's the idea that change is most powerful when it starts at the local, grassroots level. Think fan groups organizing for a local food bank. And third, sustainability, making sure any action we take considers the social, economic, and environmental rights of everyone for the long haul.
You know, it is so easy to look at things like global trade policy or armed conflicts and just feel completely overwhelmed, totally powerless. It's natural to think, these things are huge. They're not about me.
But if there's one big takeaway from the Taylor Swift effect, as this analysis suggests, it's that we should maybe rethink that whole idea. It challenges us to look at our collective power and ask a really simple but totally game-changing question. But what if it is?